and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the shuffling sultana herself,
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Dominion. All of it.
Everything.
Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. Players are monarchs trying to build the best kingdom through buying cards to add to their deck and trying to play the most efficiently to score the most points. All right, Will, so why did we buy this?
So we were getting into board gaming again, and we went to a friendly local game store, and they had a play wall where you could pay some money, take any game off there, try it out. We had no idea where to start.
Now, granted, because we came mostly from a Magic the Gathering and role-playing background.
Right.
So we hadn't played too many different games at that point because we couldn't afford to.
So we told the store owner that, and he suggested Dominion.
Yes.
We put it down, and man, we fell in love with it. We had an old game series called Runebound, and we had like all the expansions for that. Some very hard to find at the time.
Some unopened. We didn't get very far into that game.
Yeah, so he did a trade deal with us, so we traded all that in and picked up this massive box, which gave us Dominion plus Alchemy plus Prosperity, all in one package. And that actually was a big jumping off point for us in the board game hobby.
Yep, this pretty much launched us into it, and we got other games from there. But this I always point to Dominion as being what really got us into the deep end of board games after we were kind of taking a break and done with Magic the Gathering and role-playing games.
Yes. So, that's the story.
That is the story. So, what do we like about this game? And I guess I'll start because we were just talking about Magic the Gathering. As much as I really did enjoy that game, I always struggled with building a deck. I wasn't as good at it, and the few times I tried competitive, well, I knew I definitely wasn't spending enough money. As much as we spent a lot of money, people just spent more and could craft that perfect deck. So I had fun building decks, but I played with more kind of crazy mechanisms. So what I really liked about changing to Dominion is it takes that away. You don't have to pre-construct your deck. It evens the playing field and fix that unfairness. You're building your deck as you play.
Yeah.
And everybody has the same access to the same cards, and it's what you do, how what you choose. That's whether you win or lose.
Yeah, the epiphany moment of, that is the winning strategy comes during the gameplay when you sit down to play. And yeah, it still has all those combos that we love and like to see and really get into from the Magic the Gathering side. Yep. Plus, it does a fantastic job at exploring the different aspects of the game's space. Whether it's digging in your own deck, digging in your discard pile, rearranging, stacking things, getting stuff for free, comboing off actions. It's all there. It's more there if you got all the expansions like we do.
Right. Which leads to another point that we really like is every game you play is different. And unlike other games where they have expansions and adding expansions actually makes it take up more space. Well, some expansions in this do make it take up more space. But you're always playing with just 10 Kingdom cards and then, yes, peripheral other cards that go along with it. But you're always playing with 10 Kingdom cards, and with different expansions, you can set up so many different ways. And even if you play the same 2 expansions, but you randomize the cards, you're not playing the same game.
Yes. Now, another thing that I absolutely love, and you actually hear a very different perspective from most players, is the theme for Dominion. I think it has one of the best themes I've ever seen in a board game. Let me explain why. So, if you read the flavor text of any of the installments in Dominion, it gives you a glimpse as to how to frame the experience. You are a monarch, but you are not just any monarch. You are an inept monarch.
Very incompetent.
You have a general idea of how things work in your very spoiled way. So much so that when you look at people, places, and things, they're roughly broken down into general card mechanics. That's where the game comes in.
Yep.
Because, oh, that village, I get to see more of my kingdom, so I draw more cards. I can order people around, lets me do actions. May let me buy more things because they have a market, +1 buy. When they pay taxes, or they're willing to give a discount to their ruler, +1 coin. It's all there. Mm-hmm. It's just in your very limited, inept scope, this is about what you're willing to understand. And that really comes through with the flavor text, so much so that I don't think enough people stop and read it.
No, it really does encapsulate what each of the expansions are. And even with the base Dominion, it really does cover all the different cards. I mean, if you look at what a village does, like Will just said, and you think about it set in this world, it makes a lot of sense. The same with a market, and I'm forgetting some of them, but the one that lets you draw cards. And so they all make sense. It's not just, they didn't just slap names on these cards and call it a day. If you look throughout all the expansions, there are variations on village.
Yeah, a village, a town,
a city.
A city. They all have that same type of synergy, and they're all built around the same thing.
Right. And yes, you could say, oh, well, it's just mechanics. Okay, yes, at its core, it's mechanics. But they could have named them completely different things in every single expansion. But they kept that thematic tie throughout. That village becomes, oh God, I can't remember any of them, but becomes a bigger village or a smaller village.
Or a walled village.
Yes.
Or a grand city or a town.
Right.
And you all have that same combo because you're a monarch there and your advisor comes and says, Sir, I suggest that we expand and put a village over in this parcel of land. Okay, what's it do for me? Well, sir, when the inhabit... No. Don't go into all the details. Just ballpark it for me. Plus 1 card, +2 action. Great, we're gonna do that then. Yeah. And that's the theme of Dominion. So in order to help with that, stay tuned at the end of this video where we introduce Board Game Theater, where we'll bring that flavor text to life.
Yep. Yeah, I have to just say, people miss out on it. It's pretty hilarious if you read those things. All right, so we're still going over what we like about the game. So talking about mechanisms, you can customize it with what you want and leave out what you don't want. Not a lot. I mean, some games either allow this, or if you're savvy enough, you can be like, well, nobody in my group likes this particular card, so we're just going to take it out of the deck, because if nobody wants it, it doesn't, break the balance.
Right.
In here, it is completely set up for you to do what you want. Yes, there's randomizers. Yes, there's I guess we can use pre-constructed setups so that they give suggestions on how to get started. If you go online and use the Dominion Randomizer, I think it's dominionrandomizer.com, there's options of include double actions, include a buy, include a coin, don't include attacks, or do include attacks. And if you do include attacks, include reactions. So, I mean, you can craft your experience of this exactly how you want. And it's brilliant.
Yes. It's the one game that comes with hundreds. And you don't have to learn anything new.
Right.
Yes, there's going to be maybe a new mechanic, but it always fits in almost seamlessly to how the thing, because they explain just learning the game is ABC. A, action. B, buy. C, clean up. That's the game.
It's so straightforward. And I mean, yes, some of the expansions are more complex. For example, I wouldn't recommend Nocturne, which is probably one of the more complex ones to just somebody who's new to games or new to deck building games, because that one's too much. But that's one of the things we're going to go over in our Rolling with series, which we'll talk about more later. But yeah, the fact that you can include what you want and not include what you don't want is just the best thing about it. And going deeper into that, one of the main things we really love is that combo-rificness that I like to say, where you can have a huge giant turn of, okay, I play an action and I mean, I play a card, I draw a card, I get to play another action, and then this one gives me 2 actions, so now I can combo, and this card will let me double another card, and
yeah,
it's just brilliant. I can't find any other word right now.
It snowballs
Yes.
into this epic experience while you're playing the game. And based on which expansion you do, it does it in completely different ways.
Yes, it does. And I think for me, because I can have those amazing combo-rific moments, even if I lose the game, in fact, I don't win this game very much, but it doesn't deter my love of the game because I enjoy the playing of it, that just arc of the game of, all right, I'm starting to gain cards, and oh, I'm starting to see how things work together, and oh, this is the big turn, and then you get into that second half where, okay, everyone's starting to buy victory cards. Okay, I got to buy victory cards, but now I got to figure out how to move them around so they don't clog up my deck. So, it's just that journey of the game. And yes, I know I'm talking mostly mechanisms now, but even with the theme, I mean, it's still there. Of that, especially a lot of them, is you are on a journey, visiting different places, talking to different people. So it just wraps it all up for me that even though I mostly lose, I always still say this is my #1 favorite game.
Yes. So dislikes.
Yes, dislikes will have to be, well, are very small, but will have to definitely be the graphic design. And we talk about this more in the Rolling with 2 video. But the dark blue borders and the purple borders are in Nocturne, very hard to read. And older printings are going to have worse font and worse contrast. However, also with Nocturne, they do some of the best contrast with the night cards being white text on a black background. So you're going to have we do, and other people are going to have some issues with just the reading of it due to the contrast issues. Play in bright light, very much so.
I will say another dislike will probably come from if you're just getting into the Dominion game family. There's almost too much of it.
Yes.
So it's currently a base game and 14 expansions.
Correct.
That doesn't include promo cards.
No, I mean, no, they don't quite have enough promo cards to fill a small expansion, but they're getting there.
It's getting close.
Yes.
Plus, with different editions, they even came out with new cards for the base edition of a couple of the sets as well.
Yeah.
So it's very, very overwhelming. And some of the people I've talked to said, yeah, I played the first Dominion. It was okay. And I would go, well, what are you missing? I mean, did you ever try this expansion? Like, no, because it's just too much. So that's where we're going to do a Rolling With series. That's where we are actually sitting down with every installment of the Dominion game, say what it changes, what it adds to, what it explores, as well as who we think that particular expansion is for. That way, you don't have to try buying all the installments of the Dominion game series and say, well, I like half of these.
Yeah.
That way you can watch our videos, see which ones are right for you, and if they all are right for you, then more power to you, because, I mean, they are all right for us.
Yeah. Even the ones I initially might not have liked, the more I played it, the more I understood it, and now I will have to say I do enjoy every expansion.
Even Alchemy?
Okay, Alchemy's at the bottom of the list, but we'll talk about that later.
Right. In addition to the Rolling With series, we are also doing Board Game Theater. And that is where I dress up in a fancy costume and perform the flavor text of that given installment. So those will appear together every Friday.
Yes,
starting with this Friday.
Starting with this Friday, we're going to go in order of publication. So we're going to start with the base Dominion this week, and for 15 weeks, you're going to get a new installment of both the Board Game Theater and the Rolling With series, all the way up to and including the newest, Allies.
Those barbarians. They are so uncouth.
All right, I think that finishes what we don't like about the game and talking about future videos you should check out. So let's go over our rating.
So with our rating, we each have 1d6 worth of rating to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, an explanation why, then add the two numbers together to see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what does the Dominion family roll for you?
No surprise probably to anybody, because I think I let it slip that this is my favorite game of all time. It rolled a 6 for me. I love it. It's my favorite game of all time, and it has been since the beginning. I mean, we bought this in, what was it, 2012? Was it? I feel like it was either 2012 or 2013.
Something like that.
Something like that. So we've been going on probably about a decade of Dominion, and I've loved it since the beginning. It just has everything I really like, and yes, there are expansions I don't particularly care as much for. Alchemy would definitely be at the bottom of my list, but overall, I enjoy what each expansion adds to the game in terms of the options and opportunities.
For me, it is also a 6. It has everything I like, and the way it expands out is absolutely brilliant, because every expansion, in my opinion, is still Dominion. There's been many games where I got the first one, thought it was cool, got the second one, it was more of the same, so it was nice. Then I got the third, and then you're playing a completely different game that's not even... It uses the parts of the first two, but like not at all the third one. And it feels very disjointed for me. And that's what I see happen in a number of different games. Dominion doesn't do that. You still have your ABCs. You still have your action, your buy, and your cleanup, no matter what expansion it is. It's just this expansion shows you what you can do with this part of the game. Or this part of the game. And whenever they introduce things like various tokens, most of the time they use metal.
Yes, that is very nice that they just add metal tokens. There's really only been 2 types of tokens, coin tokens and victory point tokens. However, because they also introduce player mats in various ones, whatever token you're using takes on the meaning associated with the player mat. So a lot of them could be coin tokens, but they're not actually used for money. They're used to represent something else.
Yeah, they're used to represent debt or shield.
No, there actually is debt coins. I'm sorry.
Don't they like hexagon or octagon?
Yes, sorry. There are actually 3 different token types in the game. Debt tokens were actually their own unique one.
Yeah, then the round tokens.
Yeah,
then
that's the coin.
shields.
And the shields are the victory points. So, sorry, 3 types.
I thought there was another one that was like oblong.
Maybe we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yes, but those tokens are very tactilely satisfying.
Yes.
In a game in which that you are going to be manipulating components a lot of, because it's a lot of shuffling cards. That is a nice avenue to also explore, with it still being the focus is on the deck and the cards. So yes, 6, absolutely fantastic. So between the two of us, 12 out of 12. Dominion is worth getting, and look forward to our other videos to see if which Dominion is right for you.
Yep.
So that will do it for us here at Rolling with Reviews. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And build a Dominion with us, because we are Rolling with Reviews.